Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video on the channel. Today we have a really different video. It's something that actually wasn't planned at the start of the year, but recent weeks has come around and we're going to do it. I'm going for an attempt on it. We have the WWE Royal Rumble 2021 predictions, a completely different fan base that I'm trying to get to here, but we needed the fourth sport and I don't really know what it was, but I think maybe this could be it, a different audience, get different audiences together to become one. If you're new here, then do subscribe to the channel. This is the home of sporting predictions, as I have in my channel banner, and we have football predictions that have come out. We had one go out earlier. It was different to what I normally do because I couldn't get any footage to film it, but we have predictions for every competition. We also have Formula 1 predictions as well, so if you know anyone that's a fan of F1, go and check out the 2021 predictions that went out yesterday. And then we'll also have boxing videos coming out, you know, like Floyd versus Logan Paul, Jake Paul versus Askren when that comes around, Joshua Fury when that comes around. It'll all be covered on here. So yeah, loads of different sporting predictions being covered. I'll be in every video. We might have Philip or Ashley with us live for different videos. They both can't film at the time that I'm filming right now, so they could be with us for other videos, but at the minute we're going to have clips from them on who they think the winners will be. I'm not really too sure how I'm going to edit it together, but all I know is that we're going to have this video coming out. Also, smack my bell. We can finally use that properly because WWE have a bell. But yeah, let's just get into this. I've rambled on a bit in the intro and let's get right into it. So the format we're going to have for this is I'm going to go through every match. There's only 5 matches at the moment. It's currently Friday before the Sunday or the Monday morning, depending on where you are. We have 5 matches: the Women's Tag Title, Universal, WWE, and the 2 Rumble matches. I've not paid attention as much as I have in recent years. Neither's Philip. Ashley's the one that actually pays attention most, I feel. We're going to have comments from both of them on who they think will win. Last year, when we actually done predictions within our little group chat, Ashley correctly predicted that Drew McIntyre will win the Royal Rumble. So I suppose he's on a roll. He correctly predicted McIntyre. I know who he's picked for the Rumble at the minute. I don't know who he's picked for the Women's. I don't know any Philip predictions at the minute. But yeah, let's get right into this. We're going to start with the Women's Tag Team Championship match. Asuka and Charlotte versus Baszler and Jax. To be fair, I couldn't give a wank about it. It doesn't interest me at all. The storyline's a bit up in the air. Asuka and Flair don't tag. All the creative booking around them winning it. They're just throwing teams together to win a tag title belt. It doesn't make sense to me. But for this, I'm going with Baszler and Jax to reclaim the titles, and Charlotte and Asuka will have a feud going into Fastlane next month or whenever that is for the Raw Women's title. Or Charlotte versus Lacey Evans, #1 contenders match for a WrestleMania match against Asuka, something like that. But I'm going with Baszler and Jax to win the tag titles. What do you think, Ashley?
My prediction for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler v Charlotte, Flair and Asuka is for Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to win and retain the title.
So Ashley also going with Baszler and Jax to reclaim the titles. Now let's go to Philip.
I can't say I've watched a product in a long time. I've watched a lot of highlights from the WWE YouTube channel, so I know briefly what's going on. I know the card, I know the matches. Obviously the Royal Rumble, you're going to know what matches are on the card. I know Asuka has been having matches with Alexa Bliss the last 2 weeks or something like that. Charlotte's in a feud with Lacey Evans and her dad. Ric Flair and Lacey Evans, will they interfere in the match and cost Asuka and Charlotte the chance at the titles? I presume they will, and I will presume that that's going to happen, and Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will retain.
As I said earlier, I don't know what he's put, so I'm not going to act like I know what he's put because I don't. But we're going to move on to the Universal Championship match, last man standing, between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. Now, there was a gauntlet match to decide the #1 contender, and Nakamura was on a roll, which was good to see because I'm a big fan of Nakamura, and he deserves his shot. He should have personally won it. I think it would have been a better match than or a better storyline leading into a match than what they've done, having Adam Pearce win it. Now, Adam Pearce was an NWA champion before. I haven't seen him wrestle, but people were going mental about it and saying it was a good thing. But of course, he's one of the head creators in WWE on screen and off screen, and he's put Kevin Owens in this match. When he announced it, should have announced Nakamura because he was the last person in the match that wasn't Adam Pearce. And it would have just made sense. Roman Reigns' creative role with Paul Heyman, his direction he's going in is fantastic. He's doing the best work of his career with Paul Heyman, along with Jey Uso. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Jimmy Uso, but at the minute, the direction they're going is good. They had a match at TLC last year. I haven't watched it. As I said, I haven't watched much wrestling recently. This match, though, I do think Roman Reigns is going to retain. I don't see why you would take a big belt off of someone, a major men's belt off of someone leading into WrestleMania. So I think Roman Reigns will retain the title. And yeah, it just doesn't make sense for Kevin Owens to win the title, in my opinion. And it doesn't hurt him too much to put Reigns over. Now, Ashley, over to you.
The way that Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns feud's gone in the past few weeks and months, I feel that Kevin Owens is going to get the better of Roman Reigns and win this match, and I think he's ready and prepared for it.
So yeah, Ashley going with Kevin Owens to win. As I said, he knows, he's been watching it a bit more, and he does have these bold predictions, and he was right with McIntyre last year. He's been right with a few of the WrestleMania ones that we've done before. And yeah, if Kevin Owens wins it, I wouldn't be too mad, but it also ruins the sharpness that Roman Reigns have, because he's unbeatable at the minute because he's the head of the table. Now, Philip, what do you think?
Again, not watched SmackDown in ages to know the build between them. I know Roman Reigns has this heel faction with the Usos. Haven't paid attention because I know a lot of people think SmackDown's good, but I think it's shit still. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite an easy retain for Roman Reigns. I'd like to see Kevin Owens win the Universal Championship again, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what the long-term build is for this, who Roman Reigns will be facing at Mania. Not sure.
Now, the WWE Championship match, Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. Yeah, Goldberg in another title match. Last time this happened, he absolutely, I wouldn't say absolutely buried the Fiend, but he derailed the Fiend. And now he's over the WWE title match against Drew McIntyre. Personally, I think Drew McIntyre will win. I don't think WWE are that stupid to put the title on Goldberg, but at the same time, it's the only belt that he hasn't won, and he'd be the only person to win the WCW belt, World Heavyweight Championship, WWE and Universal Championship. So that part really does scare me. And Drew, he's kind of going a little bit dry, I'm not going to lie. In the first run it was brilliant because he was having one-off matches against Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley. It keeps the feud fresh, and then he had that feud with Randy Orton that dragged out a bit. And then I haven't paid attention to his run since then. So yeah, he's it's up in the air. With this match I do favour Drew slightly, and you'll see why going into the video. But Ashley, what do you think?
My predictions for Drew McIntyre vs Goldberg is for Drew to retain the title.
So you're actually going with Drew McIntyre to win as well. Again, probably the same for him. We don't actually know what's going to happen because Goldberg is Goldberg and he doesn't like putting people over, like he didn't want to put the Fiend over. But Philip, what's your opinion?
I could go on for another 450 hours about why I don't watch the product, and one of the main reasons is they can't build new stars. Goldberg in his 50s, long past it, had the stinker of a match with The Undertaker, well precedented that he's quite a stiff worker, going up against the only star that they've really managed to make, which is a good thing. Obviously they're making a star. Yeah, and I'm not really too fussed about the match. Don't think it's going to be anything spectacular, and I think it's going to be quite an easy retain for Drew McIntyre, because if they actually put the title on Goldberg again, because obviously we all know what happened in Jeddah and we don't want that happening again, but there's obviously a chance with Vince McMahon. You never know what's going to happen. If they actually put the title on Goldberg again, then I will refuse to watch this fucking company ever again, because AEW is far superior. Come at me.
So now moving on to the Women's Royal Rumble. I'm just going to come out with my picks, and the reason why. My first pick, we're going to go with two picks for this. My first pick, like my second pick, is Rhea Ripley. She is getting the call up to the main roster. She's been written off NXT. She lost to Raquel Martinez, I think, from NXT in their last women's standing match, and bring her into the main roster through the Royal Rumble. Actually, probably, or one of the contenders to win it. She's one of the favourites to win it. Yeah, I'm not against it. If she won it, she would more than likely go after Charlotte in a rematch. Yeah, that just makes a lot of sense for the Raw side. Her to go after Charlotte, Charlotte beating Asuka at WrestleMania. They have a rematch and Rhea Ripley wins because of what happened last year with the NXT Championship. So yeah, to be fair, that does make sense. You can kind of see the direction that WWE will go. So supposedly for the Raw side, I'm going to go Rhea Ripley, and for the women's side on SmackDown, I'm going to go with Bianca Belair. She's in this little shitty feud with Bayley at the minute. Win the Rumble, beat Bayley, go and have a match against Sasha Banks. Makes a lot of sense to me. So both sides I can see. I think they will be the women's title matches at WrestleMania now. I've said it. Asuka, Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. That'd be a fantastic match. Both of them would be. But yeah, they're my two picks to win the women's Royal Rumble match. What do you think, Ashley?
For the women's Royal Rumble, it's for either Nia Jax to win the Royal Rumble or Ripley.
So yeah, this is the only one that I don't know he's picked, the Women's Royal Rumble, but we're just going to go straight up to Philip.
Now we'll go on to the Women's Royal Rumble, who I think will be the winner. The favourite on Paddy Power to win the Royal Rumble is Bianca Belair. Yeah, I would not be against Shayna Baszler winning a Rumble at all, and she's actually my prediction, not because she's the favourite, because I think she's a tremendous athlete, a tremendous wrestler, deserves to win the Royal Rumble and have a shot. Alexa Bliss, I can also see it because of the continuation of the storyline between, you know, Randy Orton and stuff. But do I actually see something with Orton happening to eliminate Bliss from the Rumble? Yeah.
See, a lot of people did say that Alexa Bliss could win the Rumble if any of them had picked him. Then I'm just gonna, I don't know what they've picked, but she could. But personally, I think that one way or another, Randy Orton will cost Alexa Bliss in the Rumble. And now moving on to the Men's Royal Rumble, my two picks for this match. I don't have a distinct destination for what title they'll go after, but I'm going with Edge or Daniel Bryan. Don't know why I said Bryan, but I think these two will also be the last two in the Rumble. Because either putting either out to win it, it doesn't really matter. They're not going to be affected. I do think Daniel Bryan will win the Rumble because of the thing that happened on Talking Smack between him and Paul Heyman. Edge, you can't write it out. I personally think if he did win it, he'd go after Roman Reigns, because Drew McIntyre, I think he's going to be occupied with Keith Lee and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I think that's the only match that's kind of cemented. So yeah, I think it will be... I more favoured Daniel Bryan to win. I just had to put Edge as a second pick because of what happened. He will win a major title, it's just a case of when. But Daniel Bryan, same with him. He will have another crack at a world title. And I think Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, it's been brewing, and I think it is Sither, and then Bryan winning the Rumble, going after Reigns. I think it makes most logical sense. If it was in Hollywood, it would be The Rock, but Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns will do. What do you think, Ashley?
My two picks for who could win the Royal Rumble is either Edge or Randy Orton. They're my two picks for the people who could win the Royal Rumble. I think Edge will be the one who could win it, because this year is gonna be his last Royal Rumble, so he's gonna be more determined than ever. So yeah.
So yeah, Ashley going with Edge or Randy Orton. What do you think, Philip?
Now the Men's Royal Rumble, coming in at the favourite at 2.2 is Daniel Bryan. Not sure what quite a resurgence he's had. Again, I can't stress enough how much I've not been watching SmackDown or Raw. Coming in just behind him on 3.5 odds is Edge. Edge obviously made his return at the Rumble last year. Absolute scenes, back when I actually liked what I was watching from WWE. He's entering the Royal Rumble. He's going to start a feud with someone. AJ Styles, someone like that maybe, would be a great feud going into WrestleMania. In terms of who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble, I actually correctly predicted it last year. I correctly predicted that Drew McIntyre will win the Rumble last year, which he obviously did, and become the champion and everything at Mania. In terms of who I think is going to win it, will I go and get the second streak of predictions? Probably not, because I think Keith Lee will win the Royal Rumble. I think it's just going to be a tremendous achievement for him. a tremendous build to him, because obviously I feel like he deserves to be at the tippity top because of how great he is.
Something a bit different. I'm going to go with outsider picks for any of the Rumbles. I've said for Philip and Ashley to do this as well. My outsider picks are Trish Stratus or Goldberg. Trish Stratus because of the thing they're doing with Sasha Banks. They've hinted at them having a match sometime soon, and I think if they was to do it at WrestleMania for a title, possibly Sasha Banks going over, or even Trish, I wouldn't be too mad. I wouldn't be mad if Trish won it either, but as I said, the Legends quarantining thing, I'm not too sure. And Goldberg because Wrestle Votes or Wrestle Talks, one of them is a Twitter page. They're pretty reliable. They've said that WWE discussed something that scared the death out of someone, and Goldberg winning it I think is the only viable option. Losing to McIntyre, entering the Rumble, winning it, going on to face Roman Reigns in the Spear versus Spear, because they will have their match. It's just a case of when. Ashley, who are your outsider picks?
My wildcard pick for the men's Royal Rumble is for Brock Lesnar to come back. He hasn't been back in a while, since WrestleMania, but I do feel it will be a shock to many people.
So now moving on to the surprise returns. Now I've told Philip and Ashley to go for one realistic surprise return and one that's not so realistic. For me personally, my not so realistic return, because of one tweet he put out saying he has to quarantine for a job coming up, I'm going with CM Punk. Again, the rumours fly around every year, but Bale came back to Tottenham. So it could happen. I'd personally go apeshit if he came back, because CM Punk under Paul Heyman was fantastic. The way he went out was a bit shitty. I've always felt like he will come back. It's just a case of when. He's done stuff with Fox, so I feel like he could come back personally. And the fact he's got a quarantine for a job makes me think he could come back. And my not so surprising return, I'm going to go with Seth Rollins. He was meant to return at the start of the year on SmackDown, and he hasn't. I think entering the Rumble just bleed him through, and you could possibly start a feud for Fastlane or WrestleMania, having him come back. Also another one I haven't put on here, but Brock Lesnar. I think he could possibly come back and possibly even win it if he does come back, but I don't think he will. You don't need him to win the Rumble, but again, they like making Brock look strong, and I wouldn't be against it if he came back and won it. Ashley, who are your surprise picks?
My picks for the unlikely person and likely person to come back is, the unlikely person is John Cena, but in recent weeks he's been appearing, and he announced that one of the next wrestling is going to be taking place in Hollywood, and Seth Rollins, as I feel he's going to turn up.
So yeah, Ashley going with John Cena. I can see it happening, but not at the Royal Rumble. I think he'll be back for WrestleMania, but not at the Royal Rumble. Philip, who do you think?
We'll talk about surprises now. Obviously it's not the Royal Rumble without there being any surprise entrances in the Rumble itself. There was a rumour about Becky Lynch returning. Maybe, obviously she's had a child now, so there is a chance of that happening, and I'm sure that Vince will want Becky back as soon as much possible to bolster the women's division. I don't know anyone specifically that's rumoured to return. John Cena I think is one of them.
So yeah, interesting to see from all three of us. Like I have with the football predictions, I'll keep a percentage of stuff that could have happened. And I'll be back for a video like this when it comes to Fastlane or Elimination Chamber, whatever match pay-per-view is next. But yeah, something a little bit different. If you did enjoy it, smash a like. It helps me out a lot. And as I said, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys later. Goodbye.